My name is Catherine, and I am the founder and one of the facilitators here at the Be Your Own Guru Wellness Center. I wanted to kick off these video introductions with a hello, this is me. And I have a fun tidbit to share. So my fun fact, my little bit of something, is that I was kicked out of my very first meditation class. I had landed in I was in a wandering phase of my life, and I had landed at the Shambhala Mountain Center, which was a retreat center up in northern Colorado. And I was doing a volunteer program, so in exchange for helping, I was getting room and board. And when there was space, we were allowed to attend the various programs. They had a meditation one-on-one program, and I thought, great, let's go do this. I had never taken a meditation class. I knew nothing really about it, and I'm like, all right, cool. Context, I'm also in this moment of my life where I'm going through a bit of an awakening period, and I'm becoming more sensitive to certain energies, and I'm shedding a lot of things, and I'm really leaning hard into the rebel side, coming from someone who's always super goody two-shoes. And so I'm leaning into this rebel side, and I'm tapping into energies, and I'm feeling things flow, and it's really interesting, and I'm really intrigued. And so we sit down to meditate, and I sit and I start to think, ooh, my arms are floating. And I just kind of float, right? So you know that feeling if you stand in a doorway and you press your arms against the doorway and you hold them there long enough and then you step forward, your arms will start to float up? Well, that's how I was feeling, and I was feeling that a lot. And so we would sit to meditate and my arms were like, doo-doo, 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 right? I'm not making any noises, but I'm just sitting here, and in theory, everybody's quiet and they have their eyes closed. No, they don't. The technique here was that eyes were open. So everyone's eyes are open, but in theory, you're focused on one particular thing. And I'm sitting there in my seat, and I'm like, I'm not making noises. I just say it now. It's probably in my head making all these noises, right? And I'm like, in my head, I think, this is so cool. I'm so tapped in, and it's just so interesting the way that my arms just want to move, and I'm just flowing with it. So we go through the first day, and it's about 3 different sessions where we're sitting and I'm doing all this. We get to day 2. Here I am again, arms are floating about. And after the session, the instructor pulls me aside and asks me to come talk to her, like in a separate little room. And she says, what are you doing? And I'm like, what? She's like, what are you doing? And I said, I don't know. I just sit down and this is what happens, and I'm just not resisting it. I'm just not stopping it. She was like, well, can you stop it? And I looked at her and I said, no. And she's like, what do you mean no? And I'm like, I don't know. It's just happening. It's not something I'm consciously doing. I say these words afterwards. This is not what I said to her at the time because I didn't have this language for it. But essentially, I was such in a phase of my life where I was trying to stop resisting. I was trying to stop masking. I was trying to stop forcing myself to be a certain way and trying to just exist, right? And so as I was just existing, my arms were floating. And so she asked me several times, can you stop? And every time I looked at her and I said no. And it took her aback. She didn't know what to do with that, right? She's used to being in a position of authority, and you ask for something and someone does it. And then ultimately she looks at me and she says, well, then I have to ask you to leave. And it was like, oh, okay, okay. And so I was asked to leave my very first meditation class because I swung my arms around too much and it was distracting other people. Whatever.